Alright, we're back on our 69 Mercedes 280 SL project, and it's time to start the final body work on this car. We've got the car in epoxy primer. I got 2 good coats of primer on here to seal everything up, give us a good base to work off of. First thing that we're going to need to do before we start working on our body filler, this paint's been on here at least a week now, so it's set up really well. And before you do any body work on top of your primer, you're going to want to put a scratch coat, a scratch pattern on your primer. So you just take some 180 paper, wherever you're going to do your body work at, just lightly go over top, just to put a little bit of, what you want to do is you scratch up the primer so that it puts a tooth into the paint and gives that body filler just a little bit extra something to adhere to. Now you can do your body work just straight over top of this. It's not recommended. The body filler will stick to it, but it's going to adhere much better and longer period of time if you go ahead and scratch up your primer. Now you want to try not to break through. If you break through in a couple small spots, it's not going to be a deal breaker. But the idea is just to lightly scratch it up everywhere that you've got body work to do. You see I'm not using a block, I'm just using my hand because it's not imperative that this is a flat surface. So just need to go over the area, get our tooth put in our primer, and then we can start mixing up some body filler. So I'm going to go ahead and scuff most of this car out. So I'm ready to start doing some body filler, and I'll bring you back when I start mixing up the filler. On September 15th through the 17th, Holly Moparty show will be going on in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're going to have Project Marcia there, and I'm going to be there to tell everybody all about the work we've been doing on Marcia. So if you're in the area, come on out, come to the show, and Kevin Shaw with Moparty Connection magazine is going to have a special event going on for everybody at the show. Kevin, why don't you tell them about what you're going to be doing for everybody?
We got a really big announcement to make, in that we've partnered up with Edelbrock, and Edelbrock is putting up a VRS carburetor. We think it's a 750. They're also putting up a fuel rail for that carburetor and one of their 85th anniversary tin signs to hang in the garage. I think it adds up to about $1,200 worth of stuff.
Wow.
So that's a huge prize that's kind of unmatched by any other prize that they're giving out. So we're really stoked to be working with Edelbrock, and we're going to be at Moparty giving that away. So we'll have more information on the magazine, so you can check us out at www.mopartconnectionmagazine.com. And you don't need a subscription, you don't need a password or download. You just go onto the magazine as long as you got Wi-Fi.
There you go. So after you get done watching this video, go to Moparty Connection magazine, sign up for their email list. You'll get an issue all the time in your email box. You'll get tired of seeing them. You'll get so many issues. But whatever the magazine can you get for free. So sign up so you can get all the information about the scavenger hunt. If you're coming to the show, guys, bring your wife, bring the kids, send them out to go find the stuff so you can get a new carburetor. Alright, so I've got these areas on the front here where I want to start doing my body work at, scuffed down. I've done around both headlight buckets, area up there on this top of the fender. Done this headlight bucket over here, and a couple small spots on the front. So the first thing you got to do, get rid of all that dust, blow everything off. Once you got it blown off, then you just want to give everything a quick wipe. This is the same cleaner I use before I do any paint work. Just go over everything just to clean any residual dust and dirt off that may have knocked along the way. Your high pressure blow. So now the first thing I'm going to do anywhere where I've got a seam, such as around where I made all these patches at, I want to use a product called Fiberall Light. It's a fiberglass filler. It resists moisture better than your standard body fillers do. So if there happens to be a small pinhole somewhere where the welds are that didn't get penetrated, that moisture could possibly get through, this is going to resist it better than a standard body filler will, so that your bodywork will last that much longer without contamination happening to it and then a resulting bubbling that happens when body filler starts to fail. So that's why I use this on all my seams. This is it's a real fine stranded fiberglass filler, not like the tiger hair or the kitty hair that you could buy down at your local parts store that's got a really thick fiberglass matting into it, and it's hard to work with and get nice. And this will actually sand out really nice and smooth. You could almost use this as a finish filler if you wanted to. It's kind of expensive, so I don't use it that much. I just use it over my seams, and then once my seams are covered, I'll go back over everything to do all my final blending out with a standard body filler. So I'm going to go ahead and mix some of this up and start applying it to my body. So you can watch how this is put on. Again, you don't want to put this on ultra thick. You just want to cover up your seams. This might be a little hard to see what I'm doing. I got a time frame I got to work with here before I lose my pliability with my filler. And this starts to kick off. Alright, this is starting to kick off now, which means it's starting to harden up, so I'm going to leave it alone. I got a little bit left here. I can get this in here. There we go. Alright, we're going to leave that be right now. That's enough. So we'll let that get hard. Once this hardens up, we'll go over it real quick. Some of the areas maybe with a DA, just to knock it down real fast. See where our lower spots are still. If we need to add more of this fiberglass filler, we can. If not, we can move on to our standard type of body filler to finish out this and blend everything out so that that repair disappears. Okay, our body filler, fiberglass body filler's had some time to set up. It's good and hard right now. So we're just going to give it an initial sand with our DA on any of the flat areas that we can get at to knock down the roughness and the high spots, and try and smooth it out some before we do our regular body filler coat over top of this and blend everything out. Again, this is just a rough sanding to get this fiberglass filler knocked down smooth so that we can do a top coat over this and blend it back into the panel so that we can feather it down and not see any of the body repairs. Alright, I've got my body filler on top of my fiberglass filler now. And you can see I brought it back just a little further for my first coat. So I'm going to go ahead and knock this down real quick with some 80 grit on the DA, just to get the highs down and the ridges it gets in it from the application, and get me a roughed in
sanded down area, and then I'll go at it with my longboard to get it flat and shaped out the way I need it. So as you can see, the 80 grit on a DA takes this down pretty fast. It does get it pretty close to being flat and straight, but for it to really be right, you want to do it by hand with a flat board, a hard sand board. And but this will get you close. It's all about saving time when you're doing the body work. Now you can, if you're not doing, if you just want something finished, you're filling a hole or an indenting real quick and you want to get it done fast, you can finish it off with your DA and just let it go if you're not concerned with it being all that flat. But we want this car to be really nice, so this is going to be our initial sanding, and then, like I said, we'll go at it with the board. Okay, continuing on with the body work on the 69 Mercedes. I've added some more filler to the top of the fender, just trying to get this built up. Now I've put the headlight bucket and bracket in so that I can attach the trim ring that goes around here so that I can check to make sure I've got just the right profile and height so that it matches up to that trim ring just where it's supposed to be. I've also gone ahead and I've applied some guide coat. You can see it here as this black speckled paint all over the primer because I need to figure out where all my low spots are before I finish the rest of the body work on the car. And as you can see where I sanded on the hood, this car's got a lot of little low spots. Now I have an idea that possibly this car's seen some hail damage. Again, these panels are aluminum and it would be very easy for hail to damage them, and it looks like hail damage. They're just slight little imperfections in the hood. So this hood's going to take a lot of little spots to fill to make it right. And the door, as you can see, has more divots in it than a golf ball. I don't know what in the world has happened to this door, but it has seen a rough life. And this area back here, this dent is especially bad. So I'm going to try and work this out as best I can. Again, these are aluminum panels, so there's only so much I can do with them. But this is pretty deep, and I want to try and get this worked out some. I started to do some of the body work back here on the quarter panel. It wasn't too bad, just some slight spots. It only needed polyester filler, not the plastic body filler. So we're going to keep going on with the body work here. I've already got my seams skimmed over with the fiberglass reinforced filler, and just keep working these panels until we get them nice and straight. Alright, moving on with our body work. I've gone ahead and done a skim coat on this door because the door is just, it was pretty bad. The heavier dents were on this back side of it. That's why you see the yellow or the goldish colored body filler. And this part of the door had some scratches in it and some slight dings and dents in it. And that's why I just went ahead with the polyester filler up here. It's easier to sand, it's quicker to sand. And what we're going to do first, we're going to take our DA and just run over all of this to get that skin off. When it dries, it makes like a skin, and it does tend to clog up paper if you just go at it with a longboard at first. So we're going to take the skin off and just get it kind of somewhat leveled down, and then we'll go at it with our longboard. Alright, so that gives us a head start on our sanding process. Again, the purpose of doing this with the DA first is to just get this knocked down, get that skin off of it so that it's easier to sand with the longboard. And you saw there was ridges along here. It levels out those ridges. It gets this down somewhat level, but it's still, you can't get this flat unless you use a board. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to get my board, and we're going to start with some 120 grit paper on the board and just start to sand this down until we get it to where it's almost flat. So again, I'm using a Durablock, and this one is a 20-inch board. And when you're doing long panels like this, like doors or quarter panels, even hoods and trunk lids, you want to try and use as long a board as you can handle that fits the panel, because that's how you get your surface nice and flat and even across the board. And I do have a block that's longer than this that I use for quarter panels, on really long quarter panels, so it gives me a consistent flat surface. So again, we're just going to sand this in a cross pattern. And this filler, I don't want to do too much with the 120 because it will leave sand scratches in here that may not come out fully with the next paper, which would be 180, before we do the primer. So we just want to try and get this as close to flat as we can. I can already feel up here it's almost where I need it to be. And then you're going to find areas where I'm going to have to add just a little bit more filler in them. I'll have low spots like this here and there, and we'll come back and we'll fill those. We'll add a little bit more and then sand those down and get everything nice and flat. That's already feeling really good. It's a little bit of unevenness here yet. We're going to save this to finish that off with 180. This yellow filler will get a skim coat of the polyester over top of this. So it's going to fill in these really slight low spots with that. And then we'll be able to get this knocked down and nice and flat all the way across the door, and leave it ready for primer. Alright, so I've got the other two-thirds of this door now covered with the polyester filler, just to fill in any of our sand scratches and help level this out a little better. So again, I'm going to start with some 120 to go ahead and just knock this down, take the skin off of it, get these ridges.
I was walking right there.
Hi. Can you say hi to everybody?
Hi.
Not so close to the camera. They don't want to see all your teeth. Are you going to help me sand?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, so how do we do this?
I want to get...
No, not with that. We're not going to use this sander. We're done with this sander for now. We're going to use the board sander. And we're going to show everybody how we do it. So we just take the board like this.
Okay.
Right? And we just move it across it like this.
I will do it.
Now hold it nice and flat. And go across it. See that?
Okay, I can do it.
Alright, let's see you do it. Just down here. Just on this back part here. You want to do it like this. See, like this. No, not up and down. It's called a diagonal. You go like this.
Okay.
See? And then you go this way. Like this. Okay? Let's see you do that. Well, you're getting it somewhat, yep. Sanding's a lot of work, isn't it? Getting smooth yet?
I have to put the white things on.
Well, when it turns white, then we're getting close to being able to stop.
Okay,
But the whole thing has to be white like that.
Oh, okay.
Nope, not that way. You always hold the block this way.
Okay.
And not up and down. You always have to go cross like this. See? That's how you do it.
But
Cross like
when
that.
I do this, it makes
Yes, but if you do it that way, it's not going to make it flat.
Maybe it's going to be scratched.
It'll make it not flat. It'll be wavy. no, not like that.
That's gonna try to.
I see, yes, but it's not going to make it flat that way. You have to do it the right way, not like that. It always has to be like this on the panel. Okay? Let's let me go on sanding this door down and get this roughed off. And then we're going to go switch to the 180 grit sandpaper. Now you're in the way. How's everybody going to see what I'm talking about? We'll switch to the 180 and give it one more pass over the door and get everything smoothed off. And then this door will be ready for the next couple coats of primer. Alright, I've been working away here on the Mercedes, getting the bodywork finished up. Doors done, quarters done. We got the fender finished up. The front here came out really nice. I've got my radius back how it's supposed to be on the fender. Body line. I put my trim piece on. Everything lines up pretty nice. Got all this in here finished up. So the last area I'm working on here is the hood. And you can see I've already started doing some of the hood, and the hood is just a mess. Being this is an aluminum panel, it was very easy for it to get dented. And the worst part of it is up here, because this is where the latch is. So you have a tendency to push on the center of the hood to close it, and it's got this pushed in somewhat. Now the problem with this being aluminum is there's only so much I can do to work these dents out, and a lot of these dents are not very big. They're just slight dips in the hood. A lot of it is from hail damage, so it just needs a small amount of filler in here to build these back up. And so what I did, just like the rest of the car, I guide coated this, and then I sanded it with my block. Sanded across the hood with the block to find my low spots. And as I found my low spots, I went, as you can see here, I've got everything circled in pencil where it's low, where I need to put filler at. Like this part right here. There's a little slight dip right there, section here and here and here and here. There's a lot of places on this hood that need filler. It probably could use just to be skim coat the whole hood and sand it nice and flat, but we're going to try and avoid that. So once I get everything circled out where I know I've got to add filler, I come back with some 120 grit and I just hand sand that down to give me, to put some tooth in it for the filler to grab into better. And then I'll come back and blow everything off, get it cleaned up, and then we're going to apply our body filler. So I haven't been filming a lot of this because it's pretty much the same old. Apply the filler, sand the filler, apply the filler, sand the filler until you get your panels nice and straight. Okay, so I took a few days off last week and did the Hot Rod Power Tour for 3 days. And we're back here on the Mercedes, getting everything finished up. I had a few small areas to complete, just a little bit of body work here and there. And I had to put some panel adhesive in a few areas that I wanted to get in before I go ahead and put some more primer on the car. So as you can see, got all the panels body worked out as much as I can do them this round. So what we're going to do is go ahead and apply some more epoxy primer, mainly where the bodywork is and our bare metal areas are. So most of the back end of this car will get coated. Pretty much most of the car is going to get coated with at least one coat of epoxy primer. And then we'll lay down about 2, maybe 3 coats of a good heavy fill primer. And that'll give us our base to work off of, and go ahead and block sand the entire car down again after we guide coat it one more time, so we can find any more areas that may need a little bit more body work. There shouldn't be a whole lot left to do as far as body work. It should be pretty close, but you're always going to have something that pops up on your final block sand. So we'll go ahead and get that block sanded again, and then we'll apply some more primer to those areas, reblock them, make sure they're good, and then give it one more coat or 2 coats of a 2K primer, and then we'll sand that with 400 and leave this car ready for paint. All right, it's another day and we're back out here. We've got our epoxy coat on the Mercedes, getting ready to apply our top coats of fill primer. And I'm going to film a little bit of that because I got a surprise coming up for everybody. Okay, here's the surprise I was telling you about. Ashton's going to try his first time painting some primer on the car. So he's going to learn how to hold the gun and keep paint moving on the car. Are you ready to try this?
Yes!
All right, now this is what we're going to do. I'm going to paint some on the back and you're going to watch what I'm doing. Okay, you're going to watch how I move the gun and how I move it and lay the paint on.
I need a little gun because I'm...
And then we're going to put your mask on.
Okay, but I need a little gun because I'm full.
Well, we're going to use the bigger gun.
Okay.
And we're going to let you put some paint on the door.
And we
don't touch the paint, right?
We have to do right here too.
Yep, I'm going to do that, and you're going to do some on the door.
Okay.
So let's get our masks on and get ready to go.
Okay.
Gotta go all the way. Gotta go all the way. Okay, stop. Come over here. Okay, pull it. Pull it all the way. Good job. Alright, good job. Huh? I know. Alright, let me finish up. Get everything done. Alright, so there you saw it. That was my surprise for the ending. Ashton tried his hand at using the spray gun and putting some primer on the car. So that leaves the car now ready for block sanding and finding any areas that still need a little bit of work done with them in order to make everything nice and smooth and straight as possible. I can already see a couple areas where I need to do a little bit more work to. I'm not really happy with yet. So but for the majority of it, it looks good. It shouldn't need too much more work to get the body right before we're ready for paint. So that's going to end this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing the progress on the car. We're getting it closer to paint, and hopefully it was helpful to anybody out there who might be looking at tackling a paint job at home. If you've got any questions, leave them in the comments down below. If you're a subscriber, please hit that bell notification. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. That helps my channel. Leave me a like, and I'll see you again soon.